So, some news has come out that Calafiori deal may be done next week, which is really, really good. We've got something here from Matteo Moretta. Arsenal and Bologna will return for talks tomorrow to finalise everything for the transfer of Riccardo Calafiori, with the aim to slightly reduce the final figure between the fixed fee and bonuses. And I'm excited for this Calafiori deal. I feel like he can really help us, He can play a multitude of positions, left back, centre half. These are all positions in which he can play in. But I do wonder what then will happen with Gabriel, of course, and with who will play left back, if he actually will be a left back, because you never know. Mikel Arteta, we don't know where he sees Calafiori. He may see him as a centre half, he may see him as a left back. So it's all open to debate, really. I think he will be better. He used to play in a back three for Bologna, so it really just depends where or what system Arteta decides to play, because it is likely that Arteta may change system. We've known him to do that in the past. Maybe now he wants the left back to be like the Ben White and play like a three, and then that will give Timber the opportunity to play right back and come into midfield. But it does give us a variety. We can play in different ways, and it will be really interesting. So let me know, guys, where do you feel Calafiori's best position is? For me, as I've said, left back really does make sense, or maybe centre half against those teams which like to sit back. It does really depend. But yeah, let me know in the comments as you're joining. Quite a lot of you are already here. But it is a really exciting signing, Calafiori, for sure. So I'll be really interested to see where he does end up playing. I'm just going to quickly check the chat. Ooh. So just, let me know where you think Calafiori should play, because he has the versatility to play across the back four. And of course, the mystery German, we all want to know who the mystery German could be. Is it going to be someone like Kimmich? Is it going to be somebody, like Wirtz or Musiala, someone surprising? Or maybe is it going to be someone like Füllkrug? There's been a lot of talk about, him as well. He is a bullish striker. Is Arteta looking to get another striker in to be, that bully up top and play deputy to Kai Havertz? It really does depend, and it'll be interesting to see who that mystery German is. I have said in the past that I would like it to be, Joshua Kimmich, because I feel like we need a midfielder and he has the experience. And we've also seen him play really, really well, being that right back as well. He can invert into the midfield too, which is also really, really good for us. So he would give us a lot of, option in there. But again, something which has gone quiet for me is Bruno Guimaraes. It's quite interesting that we haven't had much talk about him. And I'm just wondering if we're still going to go for him, because that release clause has actually expired. So is Bruno Guimaraes somebody that Arteta still sees at the club, or somebody he wants to sign? Or is there somebody else we haven't mentioned? I'm trying to think, there's been reports coming out about João Neves. Is João Neves still on the list? Hello, Anime God. I see you guys in the chat. If you are here, welcome and thank you for joining. We've got Anime God. So welcome in. So yeah, Bruno Guimaraes, is he still somebody that Mikel Arteta would like in the squad? Does he see him somebody who can come in and be that number 8 ahead of Rice? Because I think my only issue with Guimaraes is he good enough in the final third? We've seen Mikel Arteta want to play, his number 8 higher up onto the pitch. Is this, something that can happen with Guimaraes? Can he play higher up the pitch? I'm not sure. It will be interesting. It's just a lot of questions going into next season, because I really don't think that Kai Havertz can be that number 8. Welcome in. Hey, Shantanu Bodke. Sorry if I've butchered your name, but thank you for subscribing. Gabriel King, I've already seen that question before. I'm not going to fall for it, but welcome to the stream. But yeah, how that midfield is going to look will be really interesting. I'm really excited to see how we look into next season. And also that Saka backup. I do want to talk about the Saka backup as well. Is it going to be an expensive signing like Nico Williams? Is it going to be somebody what we spend 50 million on, who wants quite a lot of money? We see him with high wages as well. It will be interesting there, because I don't think there's very good options, on the winger market. I don't really think there's anybody on the winger market that is of note that we can really say would be perfect for a Saka backup. We see all these reports, Pedro Neto. Is Pedro Neto really somebody we can count on to be a backup? We know he loves to play football. Would he want to be playing as a backup to Saka, or is he going to play left wing? You've got to think about that balance. And these days, a lot of players are asking for quite a lot of money. Nico Williams already talked about him. Pedro Neto, his agent has been a problem in the past. Will he want a lot of money as well? So it'll be really interesting to see, who Mikel Arteta does choose and go for. But yeah, back onto Riccardo Calafiori. It does seem like £50 million. Fabrizio Romano has been posting about Calafiori quite a lot of times. And yeah, it will just be interesting to see how quickly this does move on. I've just seen a question from Shantanu Bodke. What are your thoughts on rumours about Ilkay Gundogan to Arsenal? I really do think Ilkay Gundogan would be a really good signing. I feel like he has the ability to both stay in a double pivot with Declan Rice. He can also then play advanced. He does seem like the perfect sort of player. And I do know from last season, David Ornstein did say that Ilkay Gundogan was somebody that Mikel Arteta wanted at the club, but nothing materialised. But it would be really interesting to see how he would partner up with Ødegaard and Declan Rice in the midfield. I feel like that would be really, really balanced. But of course, his wages, is Ilkay Gundogan, is he the sort of player to come? Because I know he's on quite a lot of money at Barcelona and he is getting on a bit. Do we want to go for an older profile player like him? Or is it somebody younger like a João Neves? It will be interesting. So let me know, guys, do you think a João Neves, an Ilkay Gundogan, are we needing somebody experienced to be, that number 8, or somebody a lot younger? And of course, guys, if you are in here, please make sure you have liked. It really does help the channel, go forward. But yeah, Ilkay Gundogan, an interesting one. I haven't really seen any reports about him, but the age factor for me is a big thing, in signing him. We know he has a lot of quality. At the Euros, he was really good in a game. I think it was the second game Germany played, but I think he was underwhelming apart from that. I think it's just Mikel Arteta what he wants from a number 8, because it does change what he wants from a number 8. Sometimes it'll be Rice in there and he'll have, more defensive security. Other times it will be, Rice in the 6 and there'll be somebody like Vieira maybe in the 8, or somebody more attacking wise in the 8 role. So it just really depends what Arteta really wants, because I feel like different games will require different things from number 8s. Sometimes you want a number 8 to be sitting. Like if you're going to Manchester City away from home, are you really going to want Kai Havertz in the 8 and then have Ødegaard in the other 8? It's quite risky. You leave yourselves quite open. But maybe we're now at this stage where we think we can play that sort of way against the sides like Manchester City. But yeah, interesting question there. Thank you for asking. Ilkay Gundogan, I feel like he has a lot of quality, but of course his age is a major, major factor. And of course, let's just go back to that mystery German, Ilkay Gundogan. I know you've mentioned him. He could be the guy that's the mystery German. It'll be interesting if it was him. But I've seen people say it's actually an underwhelming player that is the mystery German. So maybe it isn't him. Maybe it's somebody that, like Schlotterbeck. Maybe it is a centre-half. Maybe Schlotterbeck is the option behind Calafiori. We have Calafiori as the number 1 option. And if we can't sign him, maybe it will be someone like Schlotterbeck. So that will be interesting again to see. Schlotterbeck is someone that Mikel Arteta has really loved for a really long time. So maybe now it's an opportunity for him to come and get Schlotterbeck when not many clubs are after him, and we can really capitalise and have him as... I don't know if Schlotterbeck can play left back though, so it'll be interesting if he'll be like a straight swap for Jakub Kiwior there. But yeah, another interesting thing there with it being Schlotterbeck. Or maybe it is, a winger. Some people have said Maximilian Bjerre, a winger. He's been of interest of Bayern Munich. He can play left wing and right wing as well as up front. Maybe it's somebody like that we've never mentioned before. So it's all open for question. There's Leroy Sané as well. I haven't mentioned him. He's a quality player, but I don't feel like he's something we need right now. Would I tell you that Leroy Sané can really give us that quality? Is it for the amount of money he's going to demand per week? Can he really be a good job and play on that wing behind the Saka? I'm not sure. I'm not really sure about that. Maybe he can he play left wing? Possibly he can play left wing, but we've got Trossard, we've got Martinelli. These are all really good players, and it would be such, a shame to bring in someone like Sané and stunt, the growth of a Martinelli and, Trossard, who's done really, really well. But I'm going to say something which is a bit crazy. I know a lot of you, won't want to hear what I'm about to say, and that is Leandro Trossard. I'm a big fan of him, but I do watch him throughout games. Leandro Trossard is a really good player. I watch him around these sort of games. I don't think he impacts them enough. I feel like he does score goals. You can always count on him to deliver, but is he the sort of player you can afford to have drifting in and out of games. I know a lot of you are big fans of, Leandro Trossard, but does he have the capabilities within a full 90 minutes to really show the quality we need from a winger? He's getting on. Is this the right time to, cash in on somebody like Leandro Trossard? He's a big player, a lot of love from the Arsenal fans, but I'm just thinking, is he going to be here for 3+ years? Is he the sort of player that we can count on for the whole project? Because sometimes in football, you need to think of it as a business. And I'm just seeing some comments come in. Thank you for saying that, bro. It is not easy to speak continuously, but I am trying. Thank you for saying that. And yeah, thank you for subscribing as well. But yeah, this Leandro Trossard thing, do you think he's the sort of player that we can count on for the whole project? He's got a lot of quality. He'll score you goals. He can really come in for a Martinelli sometimes when Martinelli is struggling. But if we want to be challenging for them titles, are you going to count on Trossard? I'm always waiting, I'm always looking back at the game against Manchester City, for example, where Martinelli was across and Trossard could have played that across the goal, It's those small little details that I'm sure Mikel Arteta will be looking at for his wingers. Are they the sort of things you want to be seeing from your wingers? So it'll be interesting to see how long Trossard does stay at the club, because I'm not sure he'll be here until he's like 34, 35. But for the time he is at the club, he is a quality player, and it'll be interesting to see what happens with him. And then finally, I just want to also mention the goalkeeping situation. Aaron Ramsdale, David Raya has recently just signed, but we apparently want 50 million for Ramsdale, and I just really don't think we can get that sort of money for a player like Aaron Ramsdale. He's quality, but for some reason we can't seem to sell players, and it is really annoying. Ramsdale is an England international. He was a #1 for us in a title race, but it is just really annoying that we can't seem to get the money. Another one is Smith Rowe again. Eddie Nketiah. Are we going to really maximize getting enough money from these players so we can spend on players we need? That is a big thing, and I hope we really do improve in that aspect, because we're a big club now. We can't really afford to be, not gaining a lot of money from our quality players. It isn't a good look. Look at Liverpool. They're always seemingly getting a lot of money for their players. Look at Manchester City as well. Even academy players that haven't kicked a ball are always, generating some sort of profit. Now you mentioned on his day, Sane is unstoppable, can break any defense in the world, but is he consistent? Yes, that's the thing with Leroy Sane. Consistency week in, week out. I heard when we did play them in the Champions League, he hadn't scored for quite a while. I think it was only until he played Real Madrid where he did score, a goal there. Is that really what we need? Going that long without scoring a goal? We need players with a lot of confidence now. We can't just have players who are drifting in and out of game, drifting in and out of having good performances. It's not really what we need as a club right now. And that's my biggest thing with Leroy Sane. Can you be consistent week in, week out? We need at least, I hate to say it, Declan Rice is a player who always performs this 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10 minimum from every game you play, especially off the bench. And I think last season, Trossard was that. Coming off the bench, he was really producing. But again, players like Leroy Sane, can I really count on them to do that for us if we were to sign them? It is a no. But yeah, Leroy Sane is a quality player. Manchester City, we saw the quality he has. But since he's gone to Bayern, obviously he has not hit the heights that you would want. And I think I want to also talk about, Jorginho. It was interesting to see that we actually did extend his contract with Thomas Partey as well. He's seemingly going to stay as well. I'm a big fan of Partey. I just thought I'd mention him as well. But, is he really at the level we need? He gets injured so much. And I think sometimes we need Thomas Partey to always be fit. And no matter how much quality a player can have, them not being fit can really affect us, I think if we had Thomas Partey for the full duration of, last season, we could have definitely gone on to do big things. But of course, he only then came in the run-in, and then we saw his quality in the run-in. But again, is it too late? Is it too late to really be counting on him? We need you for a full season, and Thomas Partey wasn't really able to do that last season. So I would definitely be in that bandwagon, to sell Thomas Partey. I think he does need to go. I know that Saudi Arabia are very interested in him, and he is the sort of player who you know, he would probably want to be playing football week in, week out. I saw complaints from him earlier in the season that he wasn't playing games, but, you know, you're injured. You can't play if you're injured, you know. But Arteta seems to have a lot of faith in a player like Thomas Partey, and a lot of the Arsenal fans do love him. But I feel like if a good offer did come in, you know, I would definitely accept it for him. RB Horrocks does say, yeah, Rice is a fantastic player. Declan Rice is fantastic. You can see him here on the back. Here, a fantastic player. Another good performance for him yesterday at the Euros. Him and Saka were absolutely fantastic, and he was so unlucky, Rice. He had a little shot from outside the box that could have gone in, and I think that is also a thing with Declan Rice. Can we get more goals out of him? Will he score goals in the number 6? Is that his best position? For me, definitely, but, you know, number 8 as well. Mikel Arteta sees him there, and I think that was another thing. Is he an 8? Is he a 6? Is he what is he? Because I feel like sometimes with these brilliant players like Declan Rice, the problem can be if you shift them around too much, are you going to really maximise their quality? And a player like Declan Rice needs to be in a specific position. Although we know he has a lot of quality, can you nail down a position so we can then establish, you know, a fixed sort of midfield? I feel like for me, having a continuous midfield throughout a whole season is really, really good. So I would have Rice in a 6, get that number 8, and Odegaard in the right number 8 as well. And I do want to also finally talk about Martin Odegaard as well. Is he somebody who you guys see as the main player for the whole project? Because I've been seeing a lot of things about Odegaard, especially last season, that he would drift in and out of games. You're thinking about the big away games. You're talking about the Manchester City away from home, Liverpool away from home, Porto away from home, Fulham away from home. Those games, can Odegaard really start pulling up harder? You know, we know he's a fantastic player. Can he really start stepping up in those tricky away games? Or, you know, is there another player who would be better suited to that, playing maybe a full 3 of, you know, Rice, Jorginho, and maybe Partey at the same time? It's really defensive, but is Odegaard influencing games enough in those sort of matches against the big teams? I'm not sure. We do know he has a lot of quality. He is our captain, but is he the sort of quality every single game, even in those big games? Can you really count on him? He is captain fantastic, and I do feel like he will improve on this. He has continuously improved whilst being at the club. So yeah, it will be interesting with Martin Odegaard as well, how long he does stay in the project, if he will be captain for a long time as well, because Mikel Arteta has always said like Declan Rice is captain material. Declan Rice has also come out to say he really wants to be captain as well, which was quite interesting for him to say that when Martin Odegaard is still at the club. But yeah, I feel like someone like Declan Rice can really be a captain for us as well, because he has that sort of leadership gene. He's leading at West Ham. He's already, you can tell he's a leader on the pitch for England. And he's probably a player, I could only pick him, Saliba and Saka as 3 players who will always start games. I know Odegaard can always start games, but there's deputies for Odegaard. There's Vieira's, you know, there's Smith Rowe's in there as well. And that is also someone I need to talk about as well. But there's always somebody who can play instead of, you know, Martin Odegaard. But you can't say that for the Salibas. You can't say that for the Rices. You can't say that for the Sakas. So maybe we've got to start chaining the captain to those 3. Because I feel like in some games, you know, Martin Odegaard may not be playing that well, but because he's got that captain armband on, it's really difficult to take him off the pitch. And you don't want that sort of thing, you know, at a club. You want somebody, no matter what, you can take them off if they are playing poorly. But of course, thank you guys. There's quite a lot of you in here. Make sure you have liked if you are watching right now. It does really help me out. But yeah, really interesting topics to talk about there. I did want to just quickly, before I end the stream off, talk about Emil Smith Rowe. I feel like he is another player that we could see leave the club. I know that Fulham are interested in him. I know that a whole host of London clubs are interested in him, like Crystal Palace. But again, I just keep seeing fees for Emil Smith Rowe which are quite underwhelming. Things like 25 million, 20 million. Is he a 25 million player really? We know that Smith Rowe can really produce, but I feel like we've got to be getting a lot more money out of players like him. So it is up to Arteta. I personally don't see a club bidding the money that we want, and he'll end up staying. I think he'll end up staying and play in the pre-season. So it'll be just interesting to see how much Mikel Arteta can really count on Smith Rowe next season, because he can't just be sitting on the bench. I saw he was on around £120,000 per week. It's quite a lot of money for somebody who's just sitting on the bench, who's been injured quite a lot. Is it time to be ruthless again? Try and get a fee for Emil Smith-Rowe, but of course we know he's got undeniable quality in there, so it'll be interesting to see what happens with him, what happens with Vieira as well. I've made a video on him before. Is Vieira, you know, somebody that Mikel Arteta wants to be in the forefront of the project? We've heard him say that Fabio Vieira is one of his favourite players. He's always training hard, so it will be interesting, you know, to see what happens with him. I've just seen another question here by Isaac Uwango. He says, are we signing Yassir Esprilla and Patrick Dorgu? Patrick Dorgu, I am a massive fan of him. I've heard a lot of good things about him. He gives us something on that left side, you know, can really overlap, has the quality in the final third, and really strong defensively as well. In terms of Yassir Esprilla, I've not heard anything about him either. He seemed like a decent player. I can't really speak much further on him, but he does seem like a really decent player and somebody who I'm sure Mikel Arteta would push forward if he really does want him. Patrick Dorgu, I've seen a couple of little links to him, and I've looked at him. I know about his time in Italy, and he is a really strong left back. But is he a player that's going to come in with Calafiori? Because I feel like it's either one or the other, really, for that left back spot. Maybe he is the backup to a Calafiori to be that option at left back. But yeah, really nice question there. Both two decent players. I know I haven't seen Esprilla much, but I know Dorgu is a fantastic baller and can add a bit of, you know, overlapping that Ben White does on the right back spot. But yeah, I think that's where I'm going to end the live, because unfortunately I am on 5%. But if you have enjoyed the live, thank you guys for joining. I am looking to do a lot more lives in the future. Really interesting to talk about a couple of topics there, a couple of players that could be coming into the club, and hopefully we can sign Riccardo Calafiori, who is a really talented, you know, player and can play across, you know, that back four, left back and centre back. So until next time, thank you guys for watching. Peace.